Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's Nicole from Grancocos. Been MIA for a little bit. I've been doing overtime, so I was tired and just not feeling like doing many big meals and cooking and all of that. So I am going to do a couple of recipes today. Gonna do another, I don't know if you've seen the video or watched the month ago or so, I did a 4 for 10, Grancocos Lives 4 for 10, and it's a meal for four for $10 or under. That's keto. So I'm going to do another one right now. The recipe we're going to do today is one that I kind of just did a couple weeks ago, and it is a chicken parm meatloaf, and it serves four. Might have a little left over. It's not a huge amount that I make for the 4 for 10, but you might have a little bit left over, and really good, really healthy, and keto. So let me show you what you're going to need. It's a chicken parm meatloaf and roasted broccoli side dish, 4 for 10. Possibly a dessert, we'll see. Okay, so let me show you what you're gonna need. So you're gonna need some garlic, some Parmesan cheese, mozzarella, your broccoli, ground chicken, herbs, salt, pepper, tomato sauce, and 1 egg. And that is it. Probably throw some oil in the broccoli too. Okay? Okay, before we get started, let me preface it by telling you, and I think I said it in the last video, but I will total up what we spent, but I don't include cost for salt, pepper, dried herbs, oil, or sweeteners if they're sweeteners, just because that's stuff you have around your house. But everything else, I will show you the amounts we used and how much it cost. So for instance, this recipe calls for 1 egg. So I already had eggs, but even if you had to buy eggs, I take how much a dozen costs and divide it, to get the cost for just 1 egg. It's not like I'm including the cost for the full dozen of eggs, because we're not using the full dozen eggs. Same with the tomato sauce, although we're using the whole thing. Or the parm. There you go, that's a good one. I have this big old container. We're only using a certain amount of this, so I'll figure out how much it costs for that certain amount. Okay, so that's how I do the cost. Okay, so it's a keto meal for four, under $10, with these ingredients. Okay, here we go. So I have a pound of ground chicken. This was $3.47 for the entire package. This is ground chicken breast. You can actually go cheaper if you have ground chicken thighs or dark meat. My store actually didn't have any. I have a meat grinder. I just grabbed this because it was within my price budget, but if you buy chicken thighs or chicken legs or whatever and grind it yourself, it'll be even more cheap. So this was $3.47 for the entire pound. We're going to use the whole package for the chicken. So to this, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And again, I'm not a big measurer, but if you're trying to cut costs, I'm just trying to show you exactly the whole, what I use and how much it costs. So I'm going to measure for y'all. Okay, 1/4 cup of Parm, because remember this is keto and we can't use breadcrumbs, so I use Parm in place, or you can use pork rinds, but I think because it's a chicken parm meatloaf, the Parm goes well. Remember, regular chicken parm is fried, breadcrumbs, flour, it's delicious, nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't fit into keto. So that's the Parmesan cheese. We're going to add some pepper. And again, I don't include this in the cost. And you add however much pepper you want. Some salt. And I'm going to add oregano. And I oversalt that too as well. I put a lot of salt in ground chicken. I'm going to add oregano. I don't have oregano in my garden, so I'm going to use dried oregano. You could use basil. I'll probably sprinkle some basil on top once it's cooked, because I have fresh basil. So we got our parm, 1/4 cup, salt, pepper, oregano. Then we're going to use our garlic, and we're going to do a tablespoon of that, which I should have measured. There you go. And I just have this minced. It's probably cheaper if you buy just the bulb, but I bought this. I have this in my fridge. So okay, there you go. And 1 egg. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now we're going to get right in here and just mix it up. And that's it for the meatloaf. More coming later, but you'll see. Yep, that's it. Okay, so I'm breaking up the little chunks of cheese. Okay, so you just mix that pretty well. Now this is chicken, so you have to cook this fully through. So I have the oven preheated to 400 degrees. We're going to put this on a baking sheet. I'll show you that in a second, but you're going to bake it for between 35 and 45 minutes. Okay? Okay. So I have my cookie sheet, my sheet pan. You can do this in a loaf pan. I just never do meatloaf in a loaf pan. I just freeform it. So you're going to take your pound of chicken that's got the cheese, salt, pepper, garlic, and freeform it into a loaf. Now, normally, I'm going to tell you this just to be honest, but normally I probably would make 3 times this amount. But I'm trying to show you that you can make 4 for $10 or under. So I'm just doing the bare minimum. So like for us, there will be absolutely nothing left over. Okay? So you got your loaf. Okay? Okay, I'm going to put you on hold here so I can go wash my hands because chicken, got to get clean. Okay, so now I'm back. I got the chicken. I'm going to take your tomato sauce. I got a can of tomato sauce. I bought the Walmart brand. So this full can was 72 cents. So I'm going to spoon it over the raw chicken and it'll kind of bake in. I have the recipe using the entire can. You may not, but I actually will pour some afterwards for every person as a dipping sauce. So there's that. And you can do it one of 2 ways. I'm going to stick this in and bake it until it's pretty much finished before I top it with the cheese. Another thing you can do is you can, and I normally would have done this had I had tripled the recipe where it's an enormous piece of meatloaf. But you could put part of the meat down, put tomato sauce and cheese in the middle, and then top it with the rest of the meatloaf and then the sauce. So then you have a little surprise on the side. I didn't do that, but you can do that. So I'm going to bake this as is right here. When it's just about finished, I'll put some more sauce, the cheese on top, and then we'll have dipping sauce on the side. Okay, so let's get this in the oven, 400 degrees, 35 to 45 minutes. Okay, now for the broccoli. So I use my cast iron. You can use whatever pan. I'm going to put this in the oven. I never, ever, 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 ever steam broccoli anymore since I've learned about roasted. Whether it's fresh or frozen, it all goes in the oven. So I am going to use the entire bag of the frozen broccoli. I got the broccoli florets. If you get the broccoli cuts, it's even cheaper. This at Walmart, it's the Walmart brand was, I wrote it down, hang on. It was 99 cents. There you go. And then, so you pour the whole thing in. I'm going to top it with just maybe a tablespoon of olive oil. And, again, salt, pepper. Okay. And then I roast it as is. This is going to have garlic in it. But if I put the garlic in now, the garlic will burn. So I'm going to kind of do that toward the end and just toss it together. So you're going to stick this in the oven, 400 degrees, right along with the chicken. Only for about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. You'll see it start to turn golden and it gets really, really delicious. So I'm going to and it's frozen. I didn't defrost it. See? Okay, so stick this in your oven. Just keep an eye on it, toss it once in a while, and you'll be good to go. Okay, pulled my broccoli out to check on it. It's starting to get a little, you'll see a little brown here and there. Added another tablespoon of garlic. Give it a good toss. Another tablespoon. And this is the first tablespoon. The other tablespoon went in the meatloaf. But get it a toss and put it back in the oven. And let it finish cooking. And let's peek at our meatloaf. Ooh, I steamed you up. And that looked good. All right. Okay, so while our chicken meatloaf cooks, and our chicken meatloaf, it is kind of a meatloaf, but our chicken parm meatloaf. I'm going to show you a dessert that fits into our 4 for $10 budget. So I'm from upstate New York. We have black and white cookies, half moons. They're delicious. They're my favorite thing in the entire world. We don't have them here in Texas. I haven't had them in years. So this is my ketofied version. It is nothing like the original, but it kind of gets you that sweet cookie, cakey thing going. So these are my invention of keto black and white pizza, black and white cookie, so to speak. Okay, so this is what you're going to need to make these, and these fit into our 4 for $10 budget, and we'll go over all the costs afterwards. Okay, so you'll have your chaffle maker, and you can use, I'm using the actual waffle one. You can use the flat griddle one. I only have one of those. You can use whatever you want. You can even do this on a skillet. I'm going to use the chaffle maker, make it more interesting. You're going to have your chaffle ingredients, your original chaffle ingredients, 1/4 cup of mozzarella and 1 egg. Then I have 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, Lily's chocolate chips that are keto friendly, some shredded coconut, and I have a sweetener. I'm using vanilla cupcake skinny syrups. Okay, show you what you're going to do. Okay, so we're just going to make our original chaffles. Okay, an egg and cheese mixed together. And, you know, there's other ones that you can add cream, you can add mayo, you can add flour, you know, like almond flour. I just do the egg and cheese. And I put a squirt of my skinny syrup sweetener in it. Now we have a sweet waffle, or chaffle. Okay, preheat your chaffle makers, mine are good to go. And pour half and half, you know, half in one and half in the other. Okay, and if you stop here and top it with whipped cream, sugar-free, we've got some delicious vanilla cupcake flavored chaffles. Good to go. So we're gonna let these cook probably a good 4 minutes, because we want them a little crisp. Okay? Okay, our chaffles are cooking. Our meatloaf is actually finished. This black is just the juices, it's not burnt. The meatloaf is right here. So actually, I don't even need to add more tomato sauce, so we've just cut our budget in half. But we're going to top it with some good cheese. I'm using mozzarella for our chicken parm meatloaf. Hold on, I can't open my cheese here. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is, it's just about finished. I turned the oven off, and I'm just going to top this with a good amount of mozzarella. I'm going to use half this package. And there we go. Stick it back in the oven. I already turned the oven off, but that residual heat will get the cheese melted and finish the broccoli. Oh, finish the broccoli, which is just about finished. Okay, and I'll show you in a second what it looks like. It won't take much longer. Okay, chaffles should be ready. Yum. So I'm going to put them in I have a cast iron skillet here. I'm just going to throw them on there. And what we're going to do, hang on, let me move everything out the way for you. Okay, so now what you're going to do is I have 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Put a tablespoon on each. Okay. Yeah, it makes more than I thought. Okay. There you go. Black and white. One side, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of Lily's sugar-free chocolate chips. Okay. And then I have some shredded coconut. This is not sweetened. If you use sweetened, it adds up your carbs, so don't use sweetened. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of the coconut on the white side. Now, this is how I make it. But if you want, because I did not sweeten the cream cheese, if you like stuff real sweet, I would add sweetener to that. I prefer it this way. That's it. Okay, there's your black and white cookie or pizza. And now you're gonna stick it in the oven for about 5 minutes, and that is it. And I'll show you what it looks like. Here is our finished meatloaf, chicken parm, and roasted broccoli. And we're leaving the chaffles in the oven for about 5 minutes, and I'll show you the full plated meal for 4. I just had to show you, look at this. Take out these crumbled pieces. Okay. Do you see how awesome that is? Oh yeah. You'll be fighting over who gets most of the cheese. Doesn't that look good? Oh shoot, I took it over. So I cut the meatloaf in half and then those halves in half, and you have 4 pieces. No leftovers, but you know. Leave this crispy cheese for the chef. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just had to show you that. Okay. So you've got dinner for 4, under $10, and we'll go over the cost here in a minute. But you get your broccoli, your chicken parm meatloaf, and a dessert, which is the black and white pizza or cookie, however you want to look at it. I did half with coconut, half with chocolate, and what you'll do is you'll take your full chocolate, cut it in half, and each person gets a half. And they can eat it like a sandwich, like that, or just eat it separately, like that. And you'll have a half of one for each person. Make sense? Let's see what it tastes like. Okay, here we go. Roasted broccoli. I love roasted broccoli. Delish. Now, I didn't use the whole, I only used like a quarter of the can of tomato sauce. You can absolutely pour some and a side thing for dippers. I didn't do it, but there's the chicken meatloaf. Mmm. I don't want to talk about my muffle. Delicious. Chicken doesn't have a lot of fat in it. That cheese makes it so yummy. I used half the bag. I thought that would be too much. It's good. And then, of course, we know we're gonna like the chaffles. I'm gonna try the chocolate one for you. I like them both, but so good. That does not even taste keto. That's delicious. And you won't believe how cheap it is. That's good. All right, I have to go away. Let's go over the cost. I'm eating the food and I usually try to just taste it, so I have to. Anyway, this recipe is really good, even better than the last one. So let's break down the cost. We're feeding 4 people keto. I know, not everybody in your family may do keto. But for the chaffles, add some banana to it, add some strawberries, add some fruit in the mix, So good. So the chicken, the ground chicken, I'm referring to a paper, so don't mind me. I wrote everything down. Was $3.47. We used the entire package, so $3.47. For the mozzarella, I used half the package. It was $2.22 for the package, so half is $1.11. I used a quarter can of the tomato sauce. I don't even think I used that, but the can was 72 cents. If you use the full can for dippers, add the 72 cents and you have enough at the end to keep it under $10, but we didn't. So mine came out to 11 cents that I used. Yeah, not bad. I'm sorry, 11 cents, 13 cents. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, 1 egg comes out to 11 cents. A quarter cup of Parm came out to 14 cents. Okay, so go with me with the 14 cents. So it probably will be more for you, which you have wiggle room. But I bought the big one at Costco, and it was actually on sale and I had a coupon. So I got this huge thing for $5, and I broke it down into tablespoons and did it that way. So mine came out to 14 cents, and then the broccoli was 99 cents, and the garlic was a nickel. Okay, so then we add in our chaffles, which were 1 egg, quarter cup of cheese. There are 2 tablespoons of Lily's chocolate chips, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Sorry, my dog's barking. And the 2 tablespoons of coconut. For the egg, it was 11 cents again. The cheese came out to 35 cents. I used Chihuahua for the quarter cup. 2 tablespoons of Lily's chocolate chips was 30 cents. I know that kind of 30 cents. I know that's low, but for chocolate chips, they're mini little, you know, like 30 cents for tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. But the bags are like $6. So, you know, you have to subtract it that way. And I had the bigger bag. 2 tablespoons of cream cheese came out to a quarter. I used the generic cream cheese. And the coconut was 35 cents. That total $2.72. So if you add the $2.72 to the money we spent for our chicken, our grand total was $8.73. So if you want to use more sauce, you have plenty. You can use whole can, you know. And it was absolutely amazing. Okay? So give it a try. Feeds 4. Under $10, you got an entree, a vegetable, well, I guess a protein, a vegetable, and a dessert. Now, if you have big eaters, this is not going to fill them up. You know, so this is just the basics. You can obviously double, triple, have somebody eat the whole thing. I probably could. And go with it. Okay? So it's really good. Give it a try. Chicken parm meatloaf, roasted broccoli with garlic, and black and white chocolate. Have a good day.